Howdy, howdy, listeners. This is your host, Random Nerd, on the Critical Thinking Nerd podcast. This is the Positive Masculinity series, and we've hit a milestone, episode 10. The first 9 episodes laid a foundation, what it means to be a good man, partnership instead of gender wars, identity, virtue, anger, anxiety, healing, shame, and strength with restraint. Today is not a new topic. Today is an audit, a check-in, a mirror. This is for both men and women listening. Segment 1. Quick recap, what we've covered so far. Let's run through episode 1 through 9 in plain English so we remember what we've actually walked through. Episode 1. The Art of Being a Good Man. Marcus Aurelius' Stoic Virtues in Positive Masculinity as Service and Self-Mastery, not bro culture. Episode 2. Partnership, not war. Calling out the battle of the sexes mindset in reframing men and women as allies with different roles and strengths. Episode 3. Identity. Men. Who are you when no one's watching? Women. Who told you who you are? And were they right? Episode 4. The 4 virtues. Wisdom, courage, justice, temperance as the 4 legs of a stable life. Episode 5. Anger. When a man or woman burns inside, explosion versus implosion. Anger as signal, not master. Episode 6. Anxiety. Control versus concern. Overthinking versus real preparation. The mental load both sexes can carry. Episode 7. Healing. The wounds you don't talk about. Old pain under anger and anxiety. First steps toward healing. Episode 8. Shame, guilt, and self-forgiveness. I did wrong versus I am wrong. Owning actions without self-destroying or self-excusing. Episode 9. Strength with restraint. Power under control, real masculinity as capacity and self-mastery, and how women experience that strength. Take a breath. That's a lot. This episode is where we ask, has any of this actually changed how I live? Segment 2. Questions for men. The mirror. Men. This is for you. You don't need to answer out loud. Just don't lie to yourself. Identity and virtue. Since episode 3, have you done anything specific to clarify who you are when no one's watching? Or did it stay just a cool idea? Looking at the 4 virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, which one have you actually worked on, not just agreed with? Anger, anxiety, healing. When you've felt anger in the last few weeks, did you react the same way as always? Or did you try the pause, the naming, the different response? With anxiety, did you distinguish between what's in your control and what's not? Or did you carry everything like it's all on you? Is there a wound you actually started to name, write about, or talk to someone about? Or are you still convinced it's not that deep? Shame, guilt, strength. Is there something you finally admitted was wrong? No excuses, no spin. Have you taken even one step of real amends or changed behavior? When you could have flexed, exploded, or disappeared, Did you choose restraint even once? If your honest answer to most of these is no, not really, don't run from that. Let it sting just enough to move you. Segment 3. Questions for women. The mirror. Women, your turn. Same deal. No need to answer out loud, but don't dodge yourself. Identity and expectations. Since episode 3, have you actually questioned the identity scripts you were given about needing no one, about always being too much or not enough? Are your current choices in men and friendships lining up with the kind of woman you say you want to be? Anger, anxiety, healing. When a man hurts or frustrates you, do you go for precision, naming what actually happened, or punishment, smearing or vague men are trash energy? Has your anger about safety, loss, or image led you to over-control relationships instead of setting clear, honest boundaries? Is there a wound you've started to look at? Father, mother, church, exes? Or is your whole story still summarized as men are the problem? Shame, guilt, strength. Are you carrying guilt for things that weren't actually your fault? And if so, have you started separating your story from someone else's sin? On the flip side, is there harm you've caused that you still haven't truly owned? When you see a man choose restraint, do you treat it as strength, or do you only respond to extremes? Again, if the honest answer is to most of this is, I haven't moved much, that's not the end, it's a starting point. Segment 4, partnership check. Us, not just me. Now, let's talk partnership. Whether that's romantic, family, or just men and women interacting in community. Ask yourselves, individually or as a couple or friends. For men, are you easier or harder to be in relationship with than you were before this series started? Have you become more predictable in character or just more defensive with better language? Would the women in your life say they feel safer around you now? Emotionally, verbally, physically, spiritually. For women, are you easier or harder to be in a relationship with than you were before this series started? Do the men you care about feel more heard by you or more judged by you? Would they say your strength feels more like a shelter or a test? Here's a shared question for both or for either. Do we talk about each other more than we talk to each other? When we disagree about men, women, or rules, do we fight to win or to understand? Are we building a partnership where both truth and kindness can exist, or just one at a time? Segment 5, the episode 10 partnership challenge. Here's the practical challenge for this everything episode. Option 1, if you're single, men or women. 1, set aside 30 to 60 minutes this week. 2, re-listen to recap of episode 1 through 9 or skim your notes. 3, answer these 3 questions in writing. What's one pattern in your life that clearly needs to change? What small step starting this week would represent real movement? Who is one person you trust enough to tell? Here's what you are working on. Then actually tell that person. Name the thing and take the step. Option 2, If you're in a relationship, 1. Share this episode with your partner. Ask them to listen all the way through. 2. Set a time where the only goal is to answer these questions. No phones, no TV, no multitasking. Each answer for yourself. What have you learned about yourself from episode 1 through 9? Each answer. What's one way you've seen either grow since you started this series? Each choose what's one area you want to grow in for us over the next month. 3, end with one concrete agreement, a weekly check-in time, a shared habit walks, prayer, journaling, therapy, church, whatever fits, and a boundary you both will respect. Option 3, if you're in a friend group or men and women's group, use this episode as a discussion guide. One person reads the reflection questions out loud. Everyone answers honestly, no interrupting. Close with each person naming one change they want to be held accountable for. Segment 6, looking ahead. God, design, and calling. Finally, a quick look forward. Up to now, we've mostly focused on the inner man and woman, emotions, wounds, and character, interactions between the sexes. In the next stretch of episodes, we're going to start talking more openly about God and conscience, what changes if we're not the highest authority in our lives, design and complementarity, why men and women exist at all, and what we might be for together, sonship, fatherhood, and legacy, how your story fits in a bigger story than your own pain or your own goals. If the faith side makes you nervous, that's fine. For now, just stay curious. In closing, episode 10 is not about adding more information. It's about asking for the men, am I a slightly smarter version of my old self or a slowly changed man? For women, am I just collecting language to criticize men or actually examining my own heart too? For both, are we building anything different or just talking differently about the same old patterns? Until next time, stay reflective, stay grounded, and this week, don't just hear this episode. Do one thing that proves to you that something in you is actually shifting for truth, transparency, and fairness. If you found this episode meaningful, please continue to listen to my next episode as I dive deeper and research further to share my knowledge with you. Thank you.